The city was alive with chaos, alarms blaring, people running in every direction, smoke rising from shattered buildings, and sparks flying across the cracked streets. I had been cornered by the alien Beastwoman, a creature taller than any human and stronger than anything I had ever seen, her claws glinting in the harsh light, her yellow eyes glowing with a mixture of curiosity and danger. The bomb ticking somewhere in the square, its timer visible to everyone, and I knew I had only seconds to act. She moved with impossible speed, circling me, her tail lashing behind her, knocking over crates and vehicles, the crowd scattering, screaming and panicking as she advanced, her voice a low growl that resonated in my chest. "You cannot escape," she said, and I felt the words not in my ears, but my mind like a command that left no room for denial. I stumbled back, my boots slipping on broken glass and rubble, my heart hammering, every instinct screaming to run. Yet the square was a maze of destruction, and she anticipated my every move, her claws scraping the ground with precision and grace. I tried to dodge toward a fountain at the center of the square, water shimmering despite the smoke, the carved statues surrounding it jagged and surreal like something from another world. She lunged forward, her claws extended. I dived instinctively toward the fountain, the water icy cold and shocking against my skin. Yet before I could submerge completely, she grabbed me midair, her massive hands holding me firm and powerful. She lifted me higher than the fountain's edge, and with a single motion threw me into the water, the splash enormous, drenching me and scattering debris around the fountain. The timer of the bomb ticked louder in my ears, every second hammering through my mind. I surfaced, gasping, the alien Beastwoman crouched at the edge of the fountain, her body tense, her eyes glowing with awareness. She did not retreat. She did not attack, yet her presence dominated everything around me. I realized that she had thrown me not just to save me, but to protect me from the immediate blast of logic of her actions, alien yet somehow calculated. Water splashing around me, I swam to the center of the fountain, trying to catch my breath and assess the situation, the city crumbling around us, fire and sparks raining from above. Yet she remained poised, her massive claws scraping lightly against stone, her tail coiled ready to strike or defend at a moment's notice. The bomb ticking like a heartbeat across the plaza, and the crowd scattered and screaming around us. She circled me slowly, crouching low, her breath warm and metallic. I understood then that she was not only strong, she was intelligent, calculating every possibility and guiding me with her actions, her eyes glowing with an almost human-like awareness, yet entirely alien. She hissed into my mind, "Stay still, trust me," and the words burned through my thoughts, leaving no doubt that this was not chaos, but controlled chaos orchestrated by her presence. The timer continued counting down, each second a hammer driving through my skull. I tried to assess the blast radius, the debris, the potential damage, and I knew that her throw into the fountain had placed me in the safest possible position. Yet it was only temporary. She needed me to survive until she could neutralize the threat, until she could act, and I realized my only chance was to follow her lead, completely surrendering to her instincts and strength. The crowd screaming faded into background noise of smoke and fire, blending into a surreal haze of fountain water. Sloshing around me, the alien Beastwoman crouched at the edge, poised for action, every muscle tense, her claws ready to strike, the bomb still ticking, the seconds counting down. And I felt a mixture of fear, awe, and dependence. I understood fully that my survival depended entirely on the alien Beastwoman crouched at the fountain, edge, her massive claws scraping lightly against a stone, her tail coiled like a spring, ready to lash out at any threat, the bomb ticking louder in the distance, every second a hammer against my chest. I could see sparks flickering from the timer, a countdown to oblivion, and the smoke from nearby buildings curling around us like a living thing. She turned her gaze toward me, her glowing eyes locking with mine. I felt a shiver run down my spine, yet in her look there was controlled calculation and a strange reassurance. "You will survive," she communicated, not with sound, but with thought, and I realized that her instincts had already calculated every possible outcome, every trajectory, every risk. She had thrown me into the fountain knowing was the only place I could survive the immediate blast, yet she would not leave until she ensured it. I treaded water, my lungs burning, my chest aching, yet I watched her every move, every twitch of muscle and shift of weight. She circled the fountain, crouching low, and then leaping lightly onto the rim, her body fluid, like liquid metal, yet powerful beyond comprehension. She hissed low into my mind, "Stay calm, trust me," and I obeyed, every instinct, my body moving only as she allowed each second of the bomb, ticking a drumbeat of urgency and fear. The city square around us was chaos, incarnate, debris, falling fire erupting from twisted vehicles, buildings splintering under the stress. Yet she remained a pillar of strength, poised and ready, her claws flexing, her tail flicking, her head scanning for threats. The alien Beastwoman was both protector and predator in perfect harmony with herself and the environment, and I knew I was utterly dependent on her presence and action to survive. The next moments. I tried to focus on the timer, its digital numbers flickering in the smoke. 30 seconds, 29, 28. I swallowed hard water splashing around me, adrenaline pumping. And then she leapt from the fountain rim, her claws tearing through a hovering drone armed with explosives. She landed with precision, striking with strength and speed unmatchable by any human. And in that moment, the bomb shifted slightly, the mechanism reacting to her. Calculated strike. She growled low, and the vibration passed through my body, the alien scent mixing with ozone, smoke, and water in a strange, intoxicating, and terrifying combination. She moved faster than my eyes could track, targeting secondary explosive devices. A crowd screaming in panic behind the smoke, unable to see her. Every strike calculated each movement, keeping me safe, while neutralizing the imminent threat. The seconds counting down relentlessly, ticking toward detonation, and I could do nothing but float in, the fountain completely at her mercy. Then she turned toward me again, her claws brushing lightly against my shoulder, a grounding touch in the midst of chaos. The timer now flashing, only 10 seconds, my heart hammering in sync with the countdown. I understood then fully that she had not thrown me randomly. She had chosen the fountain for maximum safety, and now every muscle in her body poised to shield me until the last moment, every calculation made and executed flawlessly. 5 seconds, 4, 3, I held my breath, water sloshing around me, debris falling, sparks raining from above, and then with a single motion, she dove toward me, wrapping her massive arms around my body, lifting me slightly from the water, and spinning me out of the direct line of the blast. The shockwave passing around us like a river flowing past rocks, the force immense, yet perfectly managed by her strength and precision. With the ground beneath the plaza shuddered the alien Beastwoman, holding me firmly, her massive claws digging into the stone as debris rained around us. She released me slowly, setting me back in the fountain, water splashing high, my chest, heaving, my heart still hammering from fear and adrenaline. Yet the presence of her towering form above me brought a strange reassurance. She scanned the plaza, her glowing yellow eyes tracking every potential threat, every remaining explosive device. The timer of the bomb disabled, now sparks flickering from the mechanism. The countdown stopped, but the danger had not yet fully vanished. I clung to the edge of the fountain, my arms trembling, water dripping from my hair, and closed the plaza around us, a chaotic war zone, fires burning, twisted metal smoldering, the alien Beastwoman moving with fluid grace, leaping from one unstable platform to another, neutralizing remaining hazards with precision and speed beyond human comprehension. She hissed low into my mind, "Stay close, do not move, trust me," and I obeyed completely, unable to resist the pull of her dominance, yet fascinated by her intelligence and raw power. She crouched low, her tail sweeping behind her body tense, ready for any sudden danger. Yet she made a sweeping motion with her claw, clearing a path to the rubble, leading me to safer ground. I followed cautiously, my eyes wide, every movement calculated. She was both guide and protected. The plaza around us still screaming with chaos, civilians, panicking soldiers, shouting, yet I focused only on her presence, the alien Beastwoman who had thrown me into the fountain moments before to save me from a fate I could barely comprehend. Seconds stretched into minutes, the bomb detonated, fully neutralized, a controlled implosion, sending a shockwave that she absorbed effortlessly with her body, shielding me, yet no harm reached me. The water of the fountain splashing around us like a protective ring. She turned toward me, her glowing eyes softening slightly, her massive hands brushing my shoulders lightly as if to communicate congratulations, survival, and recognition of my compliance. And trust, one realized fully then that my life had irrevocably changed. I was dependent on her power, yet also fascinated by the bond forming in the chaos. The crowd outside, the smoke partially clearing, began to cheer slowly, some still screaming in terror, yet the cameras capturing every angle of her actions, her precise strikes, every calculated motion. She had thrown me into the fountain not as punishment, but as strategy and protection, every move deliberate, every instinct designed to ensure survival and observation. I shivered in awe, fear, and deep respect, realizing fully that she was far beyond anything human, and yet somehow protective and aware of me as an individual. She stepped closer, lifting me slightly from the fountain, again brushing water from my face, her massive body towering above me, yet her eyes locking with mine in intensity, overwhelming yet not cruel. "Stay with me," she communicated, and I nodded, my understanding the bond established in the fire of the moment, a connection primal, instinctive, yet filled with intelligence and purpose. The city burning around us, the plaza shattered, the bomb defeated, and yet the alien Beastwoman ensuring my survival. remained a constant towering presence. Finally, she lowered me fully back into fountain water, cascading around us, her claws flexing lightly, her tail coiling around the edge, almost like a barrier between me and the chaos beyond. She hissed low into my mind again, the plaza's safe for now. But we must move quickly, and I understood fully the weight of her words, the bond formed through action, trust, and survival stronger than any chain or weapon stronger than any feared alien. Beastwoman had claimed me in a way that transcended simple rescue, and her presence. The plaza around us still smoldered, fires burning, twisted metal scattered, yet the alien Beastwoman crouched low at the edge of the fountain, her massive form poised ready to act, her claws flexing lightly, the tip of her tail brushing water. As she scanned the surroundings for further threats, every motion controlled, deliberate, and precise. She had thrown me into the fountain not as punishment, but as calculated protection, and every instinct told me to follow her lead completely. I rose from the water, shaking water dripping from my hair clothes, clinging to my body, my lungs heaving yet. I felt a strange calm, knowing she had guided me through the blast, the alien Beastwoman towering above me, her glowing eyes focused on every corner of the plaza, scanning every potential danger of her body, a living shield between me and destruction, her claws extended lightly, ready to strike or defend the city around us, a war zone, yet her presence dominating every inch. She hissed low into my mind, stay close, do not want a bomb threat is neutralized, but other dangers remain, and I obeyed completely, my body moving only with her guidance, every step tentative yet anchored by her presence, the water of the fountain sloshing around my legs, the smoke curling. In the air, the screams of panicked civilians, fading slightly into background noise as her calculated dominance held the plaza like a force field. The alien Beastwoman moved forward, leaping lightly onto the edge of the fountain, then onto a nearby overturned vehicle, debris crashing beneath her claws, sparks flying. As she landed gracefully, yet with immense force, she scanned for remaining explosives, hazards, or attackers, yet I noticed the focus in her eyes for me, for my survival. Even amid the chaos, she was protector and predator combined, her presence terrifying yet grounding. And I realized that I had no choice but to trust her instincts entirely. Minutes passed, the bomb fully neutralized, the plaza partially cleared, yet danger still lingered from unstable structures, falling beams, and fires smoldering. She guided me carefully across the fountain, the water splashing around us, my hands gripping the edge. As she moved beside me, her claws brushing lightly against stone, and debris keeping me on balance, every motion deliberate, every step a lesson in trust, survival, and understanding of her intelligence and power. She crouched, suddenly scanning the upper floors and nearby, building the walls cracked and unstable, ready to collapse, yet her massive claws flexing. She jumped lightly onto a ledge, knocking away debris that could have fallen onto me, guiding my movements again through gestures, subtle yet clear, her presence, a constant pulse of command and protection. I moved only as she allowed, my body trembling with exhaustion, fear, and all yet strangely alive in a way I had never experienced before. Finally, she paused at the center of the plaza, her massive body towering above me, water cascading from the fountain around our legs, her claws flexing lightly, her glowing eyes scanning the smoke-filled horizon. The bomb threat gone, the city still burning, yet for now the immediate danger neutralized. I realized fully that my survival depended entirely on her presence, every breath, every motion, every heartbeat tied to her strength and intelligence, the alien Beastwoman who had thrown me into the fountain, now keeping me alive and guiding me through chaos like a living shield and predator combined. The plaza settled slightly, smoke curling into sky, fire still burning, yet the alien Beastwoman crouched at the fountain edge, her massive claws resting lightly against the stone, her glowing yellow eyes scanning the horizon for any remaining threat. I rose slowly from the fountain, water dripping from my body, clothes clinging to my chest, yet a strange calm settled over me, knowing she controlled a blast that guided me and kept me alive. She stepped closer, her massive form towering above me, her claws flexing lightly, the tip of her tail brushing the fountain water. She looked down at me, her eyes glowing with curiosity, authority, and protective instinct. You survived, she communicated, not with words, but with thought, and I nodded, unable to speak, my lungs still burning from the explosion, yet my body alert, every nerve alive with awareness of her presence. The crowd slowly emerged from hiding, civilians shouting, soldiers attempting to restore order, yet all eyes turned to the alien Beastwoman who had thrown me into a fountain and kept me alive. She leapt lightly onto a higher platform, her claws scraping lightly against metal, surveying the city, the plaza, destroyed, yet the immediate danger neutralized her presence, commanding fear, respect, and awe across the spectators. She hissed low into my mind, "Stay close, we must move," and I obeyed without hesitation. Together we navigated the rubble water from the fountain, sloshing around our feet, her massive claws guiding the path over jagged metal shards, fallen beams, and small fires. She moved with absolute control, calculating every step, every hazard, every threat she had thrown me into the fountain to save my life. Now she was guiding me through the aftermath, ensuring survival through calculated dominance and instinct. Minutes passed, we reached a slightly safer area, a partially collapsed building providing cover, yet still within view. The plaza. The bomb neutralized, the danger diminished, yet I realized fully that without her presence, I would not have survived. She crouched beside me, her tail coiling lightly around a fountain edge, a living shield, her claws flexing, her eyes glowing with awareness of every potential hazard around us, and I understood finally the depth of her intelligent strength and protective instincts. She lowered her massive head to meet my gaze, her breath warm, metallic, the smell of ozone and water mixing in the air. You are alive. She communicated, yet not as threat, but as recognition, and approval. The bond formed in those moments, primal, instinctive, and reliant, yet intelligent and deliberate, my heart racing with fear, awe, and respect. I realized fully that she had chosen to protect me not as obligation, but as strategy, instinct, and perhaps curiosity and connection. The plaza slowly cleared, the smoke rising, the fires burning, yet subdued, the city scarred and chaotic. But safe for the moment, she stood towering above me, her massive form illuminated by the flickering flames of the square, the fountain water, cascading around our legs, a symbol of both survival and dominance. The alien Beastwoman, who had thrown me into the fountain before the bomb detonated, and had kept me alive, now regarded me not as prey, but as something else, something part of her calculated control and protective instinct. Finally, she gestured me to rise fully to my feet, her claws brushing lightly against my shoulders, a connection between us undeniable, every instinct, every action a lesson in trust, survival, and dependence. The bomb neutralized, the plaza stabilized, yet I understood completely that my life had changed forever under her shadow, beside her dominance, and through her calculated protection. I was bound to her presence and power in a way that defied understanding, yet felt complete and inevitable.